There's someone there. Hi guys. Anybody out there? Hello.
Hello.
How we doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. We're getting ready to talk about the movement game. That always gets me fired up.
Yes, me too.
All right. Let's see. We got five. Let's see. We got Morgan. We got Lauren. Kyra's there too. Who else is out here? Hi, Morgan. Now I can see Morgan. I can't see Lauren. Lauren, where are you? Jackson, there's my man. How we doing there, Jackson?
I'm good.
Anna, how we doing? Hi, Anna. All right. Jackson, let's see. Let's unmute Jackson for right now, so we can talk a little bit.
Hello.
Christopher, how are you? There he is. Good. All right. Let's see. We already got 7 in. We got coming. Let's see who else is out there. Kyra, don't see you. Lauren, I still don't see you. Oh, there's Lauren. All right. Hey, I first want to see everybody, all right? Take it easy, Tony. God, these kids, they're always driving you crazy. You know what I'm saying? No matter how old they are. All right. Okay, well, we got a couple minutes, then we start. Everybody's doing good. How's everybody on the quarantine? Yeah.
Bored out of my mind.
Hi, Kyra. How are you? And now I see you.
Hi.
Yeah, so if, the quarantine is obviously not something we all planned, but you know what? It's given me a lot of time to think about a lot of stuff and actually work on a lot of stuff. So let's make sure. Hi, Luke. Let's just, make the best out of it, right? All right. So I got 2 minutes and then we'll get started. We got a full plan today. We're going to be working today. We're going to be working on the offensive side. So what we're going to do is not only work on what the offense in water polo is, but we're going to work on like how do you as a player can get advantage over other players by basically understanding what is the movement game. What is, driving? A lot of people don't really understand driving. All right. So, hi, good morning. Good morning. All right, guys, I'm going to mute you guys right now. So if you have questions, remember, just go to your chat, and you can ask questions during the whole time. No worries. Okay. Just make sure that, all right, hold on. Let's move this thing here. All right. So just make sure that you have it. You can do it during the whole time, and I'll be checking questions and then be answering them as you go along. So let's start. So welcome to Rico's Corners, brought to you by 6-8 Sports. Okay. And but let's talk about what's really important. So movement of the game. The game is divided into about 5 categories, right? So you have the offense. And when we say the offense, we say a set offense, right? So we say the set offense means you're already there. There's a transition to offense. That is when you're on defense and you're countering attack to the offensive side. There's a transition to defense when you were on offense and you transition to defense. Then you have your set defense. So you have your offense, front court, your defense, front court. Your transition to offense, your transition to defense. The last one is what we call special situations, right? So you have penalty shots, you have 6-on-5, you have 5-on-6, you have special plays for timeouts. Let's say there's 2 minutes left, you're down by 1, or let's say you're down by 2, you need to come out with a goalie and create a 7-on-6. So these are special situations, and we will be covering all of them, okay? Because as a player, one of the things that I feel very strongly about it, don't want just the coach to know. I want you guys to know. The best players I've ever had, and I've coached quite a few players. Remember, this is my 50th year in water polo at this level. One of the things that always made me really excited and really fired up is when I talk to a player that understands the game. Okay, just don't be a soldier, be a warrior, right? A warrior does what's necessary. A soldier only does what's being told. We don't want to be soldiers. We want to be warriors. We want to be ahead of the game. We want to make sure that when we are learning, we are asking the questions. We're trying different things. We're seeing how we're going to improve. And that's what we're looking for in this series, okay? This series is for you guys, okay? This is what motivates me, is to work where you guys become so knowledgeable that as a coach, God, just imagine how easy it is if I just say, okay, guys, today we're going to go a scissor workout, and everybody doesn't even ask a question because everybody knows what I'm talking about. That just eliminates wasted time. All of a sudden, I don't need to work you guys out for 3 hours. I can work you guys out for 2 hours, an hour and 45 minutes, and it's going to be plenty, okay? Because it's all about quality, not quantity. So let's start. When we're talking about the offense, all right? So let's take our trusty board here. You know, when we're talking about an offense, we're talking about this area. This is the area of an offense. What is considered an offense? Consider an offense is everything, let's say, in front of about 8 meters. Right? The courses, if it's the men's side, is 30 meters. The course, if it's the women's side, is 25 meters. So what we basically say is, in the men's side, the 10 meters on offense is the offense. The 10 meters in the middle is considered to be transition. And the 10 meters back is considered to be your defense. If you guys are not familiar with meters, of course, you know, we're talking about basically yards. The difference is so little that it's not even worth talking about it, okay? On the women is 8, 8, 8, okay? So we're now talking about just the offensive part. So let's talk about the offense. Something that sometimes maybe some of you have thought about it, but maybe some of you have not. What kind of driver am I going to be? What kind of player am I going to be? How am I going to be? How do I know what kind of offense I need to be at? You know, the coach is going to tell you what the offense is, but how do you know what are you best at? Because obviously, if you can work in what you're really good at, it's going to give you a better chance to be part of that offense, to be part of that team, and move on and forward with your sport. So we usually know, let's talk about the numbers, right? So in the United States, we use 1, this is the 1 position, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5. For now, we won't talk about the center, okay? That's usually 6 or center or whole man or 2-meter man. There's so many different ways, but the bottom line is the center. So here are the types of offense that you can be. Here's the types of movement and drives you can have. You have what was called the near side circle. The near side circle is when 2 and 1 drive. Only happens here. That's a near side. It means it doesn't affect the other side of the offense. It stays only in here. So either 2 drives down to 1 or 1 drives down to 2. It can also happen on the other side, 4 and 5. So again, 4 drives down to 5, 5 drives down to 4. Those things are created, you know, what we call near circle offenses, okay? A lot of teams will use that. A lot of teams will use this kind of offense because what it does, it creates movement and maybe creates a pass into the center. It's really not so much of an offense that it's a scoring offense, but it's an offense to create shots, it's an offense to create passes, it's an offense to create movement, okay? It's a way to open up the offense in both sides, okay? So this is the first one. So are you one of those? Think about it. What are the tendencies of a near circle offense? Somebody quick, somebody with really high elbows type of driving. That means they can generate speed very quickly because they only have 4 to 5 yards to work with. So that means they got to get open in such short period of time. So we use PQ, right? Power and quickness. So with this offense, you have to be quick. And then we're going to go on the next thing. Right now we're in the arm, but we're going to go to hand and then we get to legs, and I'll tell you how you're going to get that quick, okay? I'm going to teach you 5 leg situations that you're going to work on. All right. So here's the near side. So are you this type of driver? What are your typical drivers on circle, circle offenses? They're usually not the biggest guys. They're usually a little bit smaller. They usually can shoot very quickly. The ball comes out of their hands quick. They usually have very good cervical swimming, and that is they can swim very high on the water. They can create a lot of opportunities to other players. So this is very important. Most teams will carry at least 2 or 3 of these players on their final roster. I can't think of Olympic games that don't have 2 or 3 of these kind of offensive players all the time. So that, again, are you one of those? That's something we're going to talk about in a couple seconds. All right. Now, the next one, same thing. You got 1, you got 2, you got 3, you got 4, you got 5. The next one is what we call the far circle. The far circle is when you go 3 to 1, and it creates offense between these 3 people. So 3, 2, and 1 are involved on the offense. Okay? That's a far circle. Okay? A lot of teams that have strong outside shooting will use this motion to get this guy out of the way, so it creates a little more space on top. This is the offense that are usually used when you're trying to create 5-meter shooting. Okay? You try to take this guy away, and then this player will come out to the middle and receive a pass for a 6-meter shot. Okay? It can be done to this side, but it also can be done to that side. So this is that situation. So you had the near circle and you have the far circle. What are the tendencies of the far circle? The far circle are usually players maybe a little stronger, because off the far drive, many times, you can create a post-up play. So a lot of times the guys that will drive that way, it could be maybe the 2-meter guard, or it can be somebody that actually is a little bit larger, and he can actually take somebody in, particularly the center of the other team, and he can take somebody into a post-up drive. So that's your far circle drive, okay? So, again, which one of you can fall into that category? And again, think about this, guy. This is what's wonderful about it. Think about it. I think about it not just as a coach, but sometimes I sit over there, some people like watch TV. I like watch games. And I mean, I make my own TV with games. I watch the games and I try to create situations like what would be if the ball went that way instead of that way. So think about the offense. You can create this amazing drive in your head because visualization is key. And then if you can figure out a way that you can basically cut these different type of offenses in your head, that defender is not going to be able to read you because you're so far ahead of them. Use your head. That's the key. All right, so let's go to the third one. The third drive, and this has become actually quite popular, and actually a drive also when you're let's say you're trying to like clear something out. So the other team has a good zone or a good drop, okay? And that's what we call more of a cross drive. So again, there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This drive is the only one that actually go across your body. So if you look at it, it's the drive between the position right here. See the position 4 all the way here. So now it involves these guys because it's coming across. That means this guy will go that way, this guy will go that way, this guy will go that way. It can also go the other way. So think about this. Look at the 3 different things we did, right? So we had one, there was just a circle on the sides. Very basic offense. Very basic offense. Most high school teams will use that. Then you have the second one, the point offense. A lot of national teams, college teams, a lot of times they call the point drive. I'm sure you've heard it. A lot of teams like, come on, point drive or clear out drive because they drive from the point. As you move into the international level, as you move into, let's say, a more of a high-tech offense, you're starting to use more of the total movement of players, okay? So, again, as a driver, you have to be able to do them all. You want to build yourself into a complete driver, not just a driver that can just go straight ahead. Because let me tell you something before I move to the next 2. Guys, everybody swims, okay? Swimming has nothing to do with driving. Nothing. Nothing. You can go 120 and 100 free and be an amazing driver. You might not be a very good player, but you can be an amazing driver because driving has to do with hand speed, arm speed, and leg strength. That is driving. okay? Driving is usually no longer than about 6 to 7 meters. So that means you have to go 6 to 7 meters at the highest, let's say, speed, quickness that you can possibly go. That has nothing to do with swimming. Swimming has to do with transition. Swimming has to do with transition to offense, transition to defense, cardiovascular, movement of the game, but it has nothing to do with drive. So somebody says, well, coach, you know, I've been working on my driving game. I just swam 3,000 yards. Did you work on your drive? No. For example, when I drive my workouts, since I have to take care of all of them, if I'm going to go 10 100s, I will make sure that 75 of that is swimming. The other 25 is specific to a situation. So if you're going to swim 100, you're going to swim 75. In the last 25, you're going to do 10 2.5 meter, 2.5 yard drives. So you do a drive stop, you do a drive stop, you do a drive stop. Oh, but coach, I'm also a center. Good. Drive to a post up, drive to a post up, drive to a post up. Because you have to work both on your driving game, your vertical game, and your swimming. So please don't understand, everybody swims. And this is why sometimes I talk to players and they go, but coach, you know, we swim 10,000 yards. And I go, oh, that's great. You swim at 1,500? What does that have to do with driving? So you have your swimming, great, but you got to have your conditioning. And your conditioning is you're driving, you're posting up, you're using your legs. That's the key, all right? Let's go to the last two so we can move on. So these are the three main offensive types. Let's say, you know, just like in football, when you have, you know, the running game, or the guy who uses the tight end more than he uses the receivers. Guys, the water polo is the same way. It's a beautiful, tactical, wonderful game. Okay? It really is. So I just gave you the three basic ones. Now let's talk about some of the special ones. Years ago, the Russians, back in 1972, used to use ones called the Kotenko drive. And the Kotenko drive is being used a lot now with the new rules because it does create movement. What the Kotenko drive is when the person runs a baseline like basketball. So instead of using these three people to drive, they drive this way. What is the reason? These three guys are going to keep the goalie because the ball is between the 2, 3, 4 position. What these guys are doing, they're trying to maybe rub off a weaker defender into the center. Maybe they're trying to take away a strong center by moving it around this way or moving around the other way. And it's creating movement within the baseline that can get very confusing for the defense. Remember, most defenses have a pattern. That's why they're called 2-4 drop. They're called 2-3 drop, 3-4, 2-3-4 M. There's so many different defenses out there, but they have a pattern. So what this baseline drive does, it creates basically very difficult for you to maintain a pattern. Okay? It's usually used in combination with something. Okay? Maybe, let's just say you're playing and you're one of the girls and you're playing against somebody that's, say, an amazing player, like, let's say, a Maggie Stephens, okay? And she is over here in this corner and she is ready to counterattack because she's so fast and she's so smart. Well, I'm going to take her from this side and put her on this side when I can maybe guard her a little bit better by making her come all the way across and swim more. So sometimes an offense also has defensive purposes, and this is one of them. Okay? And the last one, or the last of the basic series, all right? Later on, we'll talk about more fancy ones. And the last one is what we call the hook, right? So the hook drives is when, again, you're basically trying to usually either get somebody out or change somebody. So what you do is instead of, let's say, driving from here, I'm basically going to drive and then come around. Or let's say this is the center, I'll drive and then come around. Okay, so you're just coming around someone to try to basically lose your defender. So this is a drive that's usually used by a teammate to free you up. So let's say you're the best shooter on the team. I'm going to use this drive to free my best shooter. So I'm going to do this drive, take that defender away from him, and then that way he has a weaker defender to work with. Okay, so again, water polo is a team sport. We can't just think of ourselves, okay? So we have to make sure that we attack as a whole, all right? Remember, you can ask questions anytime you want, and then I will be addressing as you need it. So let's just talk about arm speed. When you're a driver, a lot of people say, okay, I always drive, coach. Whenever I drive, I always start with my right arm. Why? Or I would say, well, I start with my left. Why? So let's think about it. I'm a right-handed shooter, okay? If I start the drive with my right hand, how many times I need to move my arm to be able to get a shot off? Watch. I drive with the right. I have to drive with the left. So then I can raise my right arm. Correct? Agree? But watch if I start with my left. 1, 2. So which one is quicker? Starting with my left. So that means if I'm doing, let's say, a quick drive, I want to start with my left. Because the defender has no idea. I can start with my left coming across. Instead of going here and here, I can go here. He thinks I'm going the other way, and then I just lay out with my right. So if it is a very short drive, I recommend the opposite hand. If it's a little bit longer drive that you're going to drive maybe about 5, 6, 7 feet, then go ahead and use your right, because you can use your right maybe going one way or the other. The hand speed is very important on the drive. You want to make sure that you get your cervical area, your top, your neck. Never put your face down on the drive. Get up, make them come to you, and then that hand speed is going to create that slash. Okay? So you can't just start a drive like you're swimming at 500. You got to start your drive like you basically just got to, almost like you're drowning and you got to get that body out of the water. So I look at it just, a lot of times when I talk to my players, I say, hey, you're drowning. That means get up, get going, explode. That's that power that we're talking about. It's not about strength, it's about power. Power off the water to explode. But how do I get that power? All right. Legs. What are legs? Everybody goes, oh, legs. Legs are the things that we have that we put our shoes on. No. There are very different types of legs. For right now, we're going to teach 5, okay? Because these 5 have to do with driving. Number 1, it's called egg beaters. Okay, what are egg beaters? Egg beaters is just a way to support yourself on a drive. So you basically are on the perimeter, and you're watching the center, you're watching the offense, and you're getting ready to go. You are egg beatering. That's basically going to maintain you steady. Okay? Remember, every drive you have to be on a horizontal, but you usually start on the vertical, and that's why I'm talking, because that's coming next, or you're going to end on the vertical. Okay, so you start on a horizontal, but you're going to go vertical, or you might finish vertical. Okay, unless you're going to do an inside the water shot. So, how many of you know how to do a donkey kick? A donkey kick is basically you're on the egg beater, but what you basically do is you throw your legs backwards to basically almost kind of like, almost like the ocean is bringing in a tsunami, right? It suckers you out, and then it comes in with a big wave. Well, think about it. That's what a donkey kick does to a driver. So I'm sitting there egg beatering, and the defense is looking at me. All of a sudden, I do a quick donkey kick that just basically just like a donkey. If you ever been a donkey, I know we're in city boys, city girls, you don't see that. But a donkey just throws its leg backwards. So what you do is you do that. You don't go backwards because you don't want to get up, because you can't drive when you're vertical. But you and you do the donkey kick that basically just kind of reverts back. What do you think that defender is going to do? That defender is going to get closer to you, and he's going to basically kind of commit its legs to it. And now I'm going to explode. Now I'm going to beat that driver. So the donkey kick is extremely important. You should do it every day. Spider legs. A drive is not always forward. A drive can be in any point of a start. That means I can drive forward, right, left, sideways, backwards. I can go anywhere I want. Well, I can't do that egg beatering. I mean, I have to open up my legs like a spider. It means like spider legs. That means my leg can be this way, this way, this way, this way. They can be in different ways because I got to be able to explode to anywhere I want. Because if they take away something, I got to be able to go the other way. And that's spider legs. It can be done on land, and it should be done on water. It is one of the exercises that actually most use in the countries like Croatia, Hungary, Montenegro, Serbia. These guys, I almost have to say they invented it because they are very good at using that legs. Americans are usually very good on egg beater, very good on vertical breast, but we're not so strong on spider legs, okay? Vertical breast, most of you know. Most of your shots and passes are going to come out of vertical breast. You don't egg beater to a shot, you vertical breast to a shot. So again, you raise the roof, you're basically sitting over here right before you shoot it, you're going to do that huge, vertical breast so you'll be able to get the shot off. And then make sure, don't ever dangle your legs, continue to work your legs even through the shot. Okay, that will buy you a couple miles an hour in your shot, all right? And then you have what's vertical scissors. Vertical scissors is the same thing, except now on the perimeter, not only do you have to, it's kind of like a water bug, not only do you have to go forward, well, sometimes you need to go sideways before you go forward, particularly on a 6-meter foul. So you get 6-meter foul, a lot of times you're not going to take a vertical breast. You take kind of like a scissor to be able to kind of jump to the side, maybe try to gain between 2 to 3 feet. And then by doing that, you force the defense to come with you, and now you're going to come across and use your PQ, that's your power and quickness. So these 5 types of legs are extremely important. All these leg exercises are in the app. Take a look at it in the app and look for it. And then these are things you can work on. If you don't have a pool right now, we understand, but you can do those on land. You can do sumo series, right? Think of a sumo wrestler. You can do a sumo series that you put yourself in the position of a scissor and then jump to the side, jump in the bed, right? So of course, might drive mom and dad crazy, but you can get closer to a bed and then jump and using the outside of your legs to be able to get that position of scissor. Donkey kick is easier. One exercise that I suggest for you guys to do, that's a great one to do it, find a wall, any hard wall, and it's kind of like a hurdle, So what you do is you put yourself about 2.5 feet away from the wall, and then you basically just like try to climb the wall with your feet. So you basically push and then come back, and then push, and then right, and then left, and then right. So you basically are running at the wall and coming back, and that's basically developing your spider and your scissor legs. And then you can turn around backwards and you do the same thing backwards like a donkey kick, okay? All these exercises can be done on land right now. And guys, think about it. If you do it now and nobody else is doing it, not only are you guys already good workers, but imagine if you're doing something that nobody else is doing. And in a couple months, what do you think? You come back on that summer program and all of a sudden the coach is going to go, wow, when did you become a stud? All right, as we go on, we've now got the arms, we've got the legs. Let's talk about the hip and the core. These are the ones that you see a million exercises on that. You have to have strong core, okay? And core sometimes is misunderstood. Core, all core is the area of the abdominal area. There's scientific ways to look at it, but this is where a lot of your work is going to be done. So you have to make sure it's not just abdominal forward, it's sideways, up, back, jump, but you have to be able to open up your hips, okay? So I use a lot of jumping side to side, like maybe take a chalk on your sidewalk, put in 5 points, like a star, or make it 6 if you want. And it's almost like that game, that you have to put your foot in each number that they call. I don't know what they call it. So, but you basically have this huge numbers, and then what you do is you basically go, okay, an ice series is going to be 1, 5, 3, 4, 2, and then you just jump into those areas. This is a great workout, and it's opening up. So maybe you start one of those points at maybe a foot apart, then a 1.5 feet, then 2 feet, then 2.5. I've seen people come all the way when they're going about 3 feet apart, and they can get to all of them, and that's good because again, I'm opening up, I'm working my hamstrings, I'm working my legs, I'm working my knees, and I'm definitely working my hips. Cervical, so important. Remember, this is so important for us right here. Make sure you do a lot of exercises, again, with a band. Make sure whatever you do, stand up still, open that up, open this up, and then come back. Find a nice wall, and then come in and make sure that this area is so strong for you. Because on your drive, this is going to be moving a lot. A lot of people after games, they have like, oh, my neck is hurting me. Well, most of the time is that because your traps and your neck are not really in great shape. So make sure you do that when you want to become a great driver. With the new rules, understanding all these angles, understanding how they all come and go, that is the first step. Now I need to check. How do I check? Am I doing the right thing? Right? I need to check. How am I doing the right thing? I want to self-test. Rico told me I need to do this, and this, and I want to know that I'm doing the right thing. Okay. You have videos. Everything is this. So I just told you an exercise with a chalk. I just told you an exercise on the wall. So you say, okay, how long is an offense? 30 seconds? On your first option, your offense is 30 seconds. On the second option is 20 seconds. How many of these reps I can do in 20 seconds? So the first time you do it 8 times. The next time you do it, you do 9, then 10, then 11, then 12, then 13. Oh, now it's getting so easy. Move back. This is how you tell that you feel getting better. The difference between the great athletes and the good athletes is that the great athletes never tell themselves they're great. The good athletes do that. Oh man, I'm great. But the great athletes don't do that. The great athletes are always looking for another way to challenge. So if they go a 10, they want to go at 11 next time. That's a great athlete. The guy that's just a good athlete are going to go, man, I went a 10. Okay, great. What does that do? What is that? You want a 10. Okay. Now you got to go at 11, and then a 12, and then a 13. And you have to constantly do that. You are at home now. A lot of you guys have to stay at home. Take some time to evaluate games. Put videos on TV. Put videos on your computer and watch the video. But don't watch the video to watch the game. This is what I used to tell my kids and I tell my players. I might watch the same video 20 times because in each video I watch, I might be watching a certain player. So you can put a game, let's say you take the final of the Olympic Games of 2008, example. And then you say, okay, now I'm going to watch position 1. I'm going to follow position 1 the whole game. I can score it on my app. I can write down and see, okay, he did this drive, this drive, this drive. And then it comes down to that guy in position 1, he was involved in 20% of the offense. And then the next time, watch it again. 2, watch it again. 3, watch it again. 4, watch it again. 5, watch it again. Center. That's just on the offensive side. Now I'm going to watch on the defensive side. This is what I do. I want to understand the game. Because if I understand the game, it's going to make it a lot simpler. It's going to be a lot easier because I understand the game. But if I don't understand the game, then the coach says, hey, you got to drive. Why? Oh, I drove, but there was 2 seconds on the clock. What are you doing driving with 2 seconds on the clock? You don't drive with 2 seconds on the clock. It takes between 5 to 6 seconds to finish a drive from the beginning to the full rotation to come back on defense. So if there's less than 5 seconds on the clock, should you drive? Absolutely not. Should you do a stroke? Yes. Okay. So we got a couple minutes. Got some questions out there. I see nothing on my chat line. Come on, does everybody get afraid of asking questions just like classroom? Oh boy.
Hey Rico, I have a question.
Yeah.
So going back to that hook drive, you talked about number 5, about occupying your defender and trying to free up your teammates. You talked about the 3, for example, wrapping around the 6, wrapping around the 4. Could you just walk us through what that would kind of look like exactly?
Absolutely. Great question, Jimmy. So basically what you have is this. So let's say I'm in the 3 position. I'm right here. I'm on the point. Okay. So let's just say I got this defender right here that's really good, and he's shutting down my best lefty. Because lefties usually, they're great on offense, but they're not necessarily great defenders. But they are great on offense, okay? So I'm going to get rid of this guy. Okay? So all I want to do is this. I want to do a hook drive to be able to get rid of him. So I can do it from this side or I can do it from this side, either way. Okay? The first thing I want to do is I take a drive and I start here, right? And once I get here, I just hook out like this. And then this guy is just so, remember, I'm coming here. I'm going to block him. because I'm coming around after that. So I'm coming in here to block. And then this guy's coming here. He's going to stay driving me, and this guy is going to pick him up. You see what I'm saying? So I basically going to block him with a nice little hook. Another one we used to use, Radko Rudic liked this one very much, is that he used to use one. It's kind of one of his pattern drives that he really did, and it's an outstanding. Today everybody uses it, and that he has a defender here on the center, okay, and he wants to get this defender out of there. So a lot of times the guy that's guarding this side, the best defenders are usually these two guys, and they play the 1-2 side on offense. They are usually better defenders, okay? These guys over here are the ones that are going to be the 1-2 drivers over on this side, and they usually don't want to play a lot of defense, okay? That's why you even hide your 2-meter man here. What he used to do is they used to drive this guy right here and then do this. He used to just take this guy and come around and then go right back to where it was. And then this guy is going to get stuck. And then I'm going to take the defender with me back, and I'm going to put a guy that's a very bad defender, and he's going to be here. What is that going to force the other team to do immediately? A zone. Immediately, I'm going to take the press away. So that means it's going to go into a zone. It's going to free up my good outside shooters. So a lot of times these hook drives are used to create a better offensive for you, create a better offense situation for you. All right? You got 1 minute. What do we got? Anybody else? All right, guys. A lot of fun. We'll see you next time. If you have any questions, make sure you check the apps. We're trying to put videos in there every time. Some of these videos that I'm talking about here are going to be putting up almost on a daily basis. Make sure you check every day. All right? And I'll see you on the next one. All right, guys. Have a good day. All right. See ya.
Thank you.
Thank you.